Um, oh, I know. Somebody put in the survey that we often have a life coach role. And John, you alluded to this too. And I think helping somebody with their resume is absolutely fine. And I think that's within our role. But again, a life coach, you know, where do we where do we draw the line as far as we're tutors, but they ask us life advice? That's a real tough one. And again, it's probably a discussion for another time because we could probably take up the whole hour with that. But does anybody have any comments about that?
Um, yeah, it's interesting you say that because when I was working with my three students at the Walteria Library, someone observed me working with them, and when I left and they were walking out and getting picked up and so on, he stopped me and he assumed I was a life coach and he wanted to talk to me about his problems. And I did stand there and talk to him for a good half hour. He was working as a longshoreman, and he had difficulty making friends with the other, and it was a long discussion. And I guess I did talk to him, but he never became one of my tutees. I never saw him again. But there's a need out there, I guess, for that kind of, and his English was perfect, but he was having a very difficult time making friends, and he wanted me to coach him, so I gave him some time, but I told him no, I could not, sign up long term. But yeah, there's a line there. And I think to go beyond being a tutor of English, you have to kind of make, common sense decisions about that.
Yeah,
I'll have a comment on that. There's a fine line, and if it involves like understanding American culture and what Americans expect, like how Americans relate to each other as far as certain customs and things, then I think it's appropriate for us to help them understand our culture, like what we do, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. Sometimes, so but not to, go beyond that. So there is a line right there. So they do have problems understanding what's appropriate in American culture, what to respond, how to say it, and things like that.
true. Yeah.
I'll I'll comment quickly on that too. I This doesn't come up much in teaching grammar, but I have a student who's very good, and I have her reading things like Catcher in the Rye and a memoir called This Boy's Life. And these are about young men sort of in trouble and working through problems in life. And it really lends itself to when you talk about the book to an element of life coaching, right? And your student might say, "Well, this is how I see things," and sort of cultural comparisons, and also uh, kind of coming of age issues. Um, so again, it really never comes up when I go through the grammar book, but I find it lends itself in sort of a nice way to uh, within bounds, but sort of talking about life with with your students.
And yeah, I think Joanne is right. The bottom line is common sense. And we're
Mhm.
all smart people, so but sometimes smart people don't have common sense, but that's another story. But um, that's I guess what we need to really focus on is what makes sense in the in
Yes.
our roles.
And part of what it is too is how much can I give? Because there's a whole world out there that needs kindness right now. And at least I can, with the people that I have daily interaction, can make sure that the responses and the way that I interact with them is in a way that's kind.
The one rule that we've had from day one, I think, in the program, maybe going all the way back to 1982, is that we don't tutor in the student's home or in our own homes. And I think that's pretty much still in effect as the one rule that we probably should follow. I don't know if anybody has any comment about that.
I think it's been explained to me that it has to do with legal responsibility for the Literacy Council.
Yeah.
I think, Lainey,
Yeah.
you had,
Yeah, it's definitely a rule in our standing rules that you do not tutor in your own home or your student's home. And one explanation for it is that our insurance doesn't cover injuries, you know. Well, then I've got some people have said to me, well, I have insurance, so it's no big deal. I said, well, okay. But, you know, having heard this conversation today, there's another excuse is when you're doing it in your personal space like that, you become probably a little closer than you should, you know. So,
Mary Nell, did you have something you were going to say?
No, Joanne said it very well. I think that if you're kind of veering with me, if you're kind of veering off a conversation about language, the question you ask yourself is it related to American culture? And if it is, then, you know, I think part of our tutoring is to teach culture and to teach how to live in the US. So I agree with Joanne.
yeah. I know who asked that question for at the Tutors Talk survey. She's a friend of mine. And you know, some of us have a personality that people just trust. I'm not one of them, but people just trust and they will ask for your advice about life and stuff. And the tutor that asked that question, I know her quite well. She has that personality. Her sister does too. Both of them are just alike. And I can totally understand how she would have gotten really close to a student who would ask her a personal question, you know. Yeah. So just keep that in mind about yourself. If you have that personality, you may get that dilemma.
Is there anything else that we haven't covered that someone would like to bring up, um, either for today or for the next time?
There's my hand.
Lori, you wanted to say something? Please go ahead.
Yeah, this has been a great discussion, very helpful to me to feel that I'm part of a cadre, you know, of tutors. And I was a teacher for 38 years, and I find that I really enjoy being a teacher, and I love English. So I was an English major. But the thing about I did assign some homework, and I've kind of decided with the group I had when I had three to write a little essay because they all were literate and about a story using some of the vocabulary. I had taught some idioms, like something was so amazing that it would curl your hair, and they thought that was very funny. Because I said, look, I have straight hair, and it happened that they had straight hair. Can you imagine anything so shocking that your hair would spontaneously curl? You know, and they thought that was hilarious. So I assigned write a little something about an event that, you know, and then we would read them aloud. Well, one of the gals used AI, and I was not familiar with AI, and she gave it to me to look at and read, and it was very long, and the vocabulary was way beyond, you know, what it would be possible. Even if I were going to write a term paper, I mean, it was, you know, perfect and way beyond. And I said, did you, you know, I was surprised. And she started crying. She said, I used AI, and then she burst, you know, broke down because I wasn't, I was surprised. And I said, but this was for you to write, not to use AI to write it. And then I had to spend a lot of time trying to soothe her and say, it's not, you didn't commit murder. Such a transgression, for the teacher. I just, for me to say, and I wasn't, I, I was kind of astonished and surprised. And that was the last time I gave that kind of an assignment. So, yeah,
My suggestion on AI, if you do use it, and again, I use it all the time. The first thing you say is what level of student you are. So it won't give you higher than what you are.
Oh, that's
Okay, so I need a story using these vocabulary words, and my student is a advanced beginner high. And it will give you levels. So sorry, advanced beginner low, advanced beginner mid, advanced beginner high, intermediate low, mid and high,
oh yeah,
advanced low, mid.
well, she
Okay.
she used it. She used it
Yeah.
without my knowledge.
I understand, but so now you know that they do use AI. Be sure to tell them they need to
I'll tell them that.
tell chat or whatever AI they're using what level they're at so they don't get
Yeah.
something that's going to make them cry.
Well, it made her cry when I called her on it
Yeah.
because it was impossible for it to have been her work, you know.
I've had a similar situation
Oh,
where I've
really?
assigned one reading assignment, and my students are very high, I would consider very functional in English. They're well educated, but they came back with a perfect essay. And I question, it made me think, well, how important is it to really know how to write perfectly these days if AI can be used as a tool? So I haven't given any more writing assignments either. Yeah.
I went the
Yes,
other
same
direction.
thing. Yeah.
I
The
went
other,
the other direction and I complimented them on how good they were using their technology and how great they use technology to solve their problems. But I'm trying to teach you so you don't have to rely so strongly on your technology. And and then the next sentence is the sentence came down to where their abilities were. But I started off as a compliment, like, hey, great use of your technology, but I can't teach you unless I know what you don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great way to put it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really good.
Well,
yeah.
that was my first experience with what AI could do. So I was taken by surprise that that could happen. And I guess I'm slow to pick up. I don't want to use AI. I would rather write it myself, so whatever something might be. But I guess I'm resisting AI, and it's a losing battle because it's everywhere now.
I
Yeah,
So,
know
but
we're over time. I
yeah.
have my student handwriting
uh,
her summaries of what she reads, and you can edit them in PDF. You can comment on the handwritten text. Because the first thing that she submitted was corrected by Word, and it was just too perfect. I have to see what she doesn't know.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the other thing you can do is if they give you something perfect, have them read it to you. And you'll find
Ah,
out real quick they don't know everything.
I
exactly.
guess then a new thing that wasn't around when I started tutoring is when you start off, just say, I know AI is available to you, but when I have you do a homework assignment, I would prefer, like Dawn said, I need to know what you know and
yes,
where
yes.
Yeah.
you
Now,
need help.
now I am aware of that.
Yeah, but you can't know what you don't know, and you
Yeah,
didn't know that they
right,
were going to use
right.
it. So
But
yeah,
it was shocking to me that it was incredible. I mean, it was an A++ paper that could have been turned in at UCLA, and way beyond, what I had even expected or wanted them to do. A couple paragraphs would have been fine. But
all right.
thank you for your advice and comments on it because it is everywhere now. So we have to be aware of it.
Yeah, I'm a
right.
firm
Thank you
believer
all.
in using all the tools. I think
We
they
are
should use AI as much as they can and then learn from it, you know.
we are out of time, um, and we try to be prompt in letting you go.
Yeah.
Very much appreciate your coming
Mhm.
and staying. Um, I think this has been, a very interesting discussion, and I look forward to seeing everybody next time. Thank you, and maybe one more question. Amy, you wanted to say something.
No, but thank you. I actually was trying to send a clap to
Yeah.
say thank you for this. This
I
is
did
my
that.
first tutor talk, so I wanted to say thank you for all the information and for respecting the time frame.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thanks,
so
Amy.
March 7th, everybody that wasn't on at the beginning, spring conference, going to be a party. It's our 45th anniversary. Please try to come. You'll get the save the date and you'll get the invites. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very
Thanks,
good.
Julie.